Hello, I'm Drunkard Ninja, and this is my walkthrough for Valkyria Chronicles, Chapter 14, Lost Within Victory. In this video, I'm going to show you how to beat the level in 3 turns, achieving an A ranking and acquiring an enemy ace weapon while we're at it. Prerequisite for this, well, there really isn't one. We're really not going to use any units. It's pretty much just going to be tanks. So you don't really have to have any units a certain level. You don't have to have certain orders or anything, because we're just going to be using the Shamrock and the Edelweiss. Let's jump right into the map. So this is how the map's set up. You start down here. As I said, we're just going to be using the tanks. All these units in the yellow boxes, they do not start out on the map. The only ones that start out are these two turrets, and then a tank here and an enemy ace here. These ones in the yellow boxes, they don't show up until you capture the enemy base, which we will do at the start of the 3rd turn. So the first 2 turns before that is just positioning the tanks to end the level. We also have a unit we can't control. This is Alicia, and she's invulnerable, so you don't have to worry about her because she's not going to die. And to start off the mission, she walks over and she takes out a Gatling gun here and here. And she's just, her path is just pre-programmed. So you don't really have to worry about her, but that does go with our strategy. So the Shamrock's the one on the right. So how we'll start our first turn is move it 3 times. On the first turn, along the way, we'll mortar the ace in order to knock him out of cover, and then the final 2 turns we're just heading this direction. Our end goal is this back corner, but with 3 moves, getting to about the tanks as far as you can get. And then for the next 2 turns, we're going to use the Edelweiss, and our goal is this little box canyon here. So we're going to wrap around this way, along the way use the Edelweiss's mortar to take out the ace as well, and then use our final turn to get somewhere about here. At that point, we should have a command point left over, but we don't need to use it, so we'll just end our turn early. With all of our units out of range, the only thing that'll happen at that point should be that the tank takes a shot at Alicia, who, as I said, is invulnerable, so it won't do anything. And then for our second turn, before we'll do anything, Alicia will then take out that tank and take out those 2 turrets there. So at this point, there's no enemy units left on the map. For our second turn, we're again just setting up for the final turn. We'll move the Edelweiss and back into this canyon. This is to give us a clear shot of the radiator on this tank that shows up once we capture the enemy base. The second one being over here. So we just need 1 move for the Edelweiss to do that, and then we'll use 3 moves to get the Shamrock closer. There's a ramp down over here, and we'll get to about there. We'll have some extra turns left over, but his movement's so limited at that point that moving him more than 3 times isn't worth it. And then in preparation to start the 3rd round, we're going to use one of our scouts and get them up close to the base. During the enemy's turn, the only thing they could do was request some reinforcements, which is typically a scout. So after we end our 2nd turn and the enemy has their 3rd turn, I guess their 2nd turn technically, that scout will show up, probably take a shot at your scout, but it won't kill him, and Alicia will knock him out on her turn. So to begin the 3rd and final turn, we're going to capture the base with that scout. And then once that's done, you'll use your positioned Edelweiss to shoot this tank in the radiator twice. Once it's out of the way, there's a short video saying, hey, we're about done. And then we're going to use the Shamrock 3 times because its gun isn't as powerful as the Edelweiss's. So first move, we're going to head for the corner and back into it. The corner's more here, but this is so we have enough distance to actually aim at the radiator on this tank. And then we'll shoot it 3 times, and once these 2 boss tanks are out of the way, the level is ended. Pretty straightforward, a little crafty, I guess, but it's tried and proven. So let's jump right now to the actual gameplay. Alright, here's the actual mission. To start things off, Alicia, who's a Valkyria. We can't control her and she's invulnerable, but conveniently she takes out some emplacements right here and a Gatling gun over here. So for our turn to begin things, start with the Shamrock.
Leave it to me.
And we are headed for the northwest corner of the map.
Unreal. What power?
Along the way, though, you want to switch to your mortar and knock the enemy ace out of cover. After that point, ignore them.
Way ahead of you.
Select the Shamrock a second time, avoid the hole. And for this turn, we're just kind of headed vaguely in the direction of the enemy tank here. Aside from the machine gun fire, don't worry about it, because he's going to ignore us. On the enemy's turn, he'll actually go after Alicia. So just get as far as you can. And after 3 moves, you are done with the Shamrock. Switch to the Edelweiss.
Entering combat.
And with the Edelweiss, we're headed to the right.
Don't flinch,
And we're going to
break on through.
cut around those barricades as close as possible.
Are you okay?
And you don't want to hit those tank mines there. Once you get around them, switch to your mortar. Finish off the enemy ace, whose head you can just barely see.
Fire! I'm impressed, but not surprised.
And then our end goal is that box canyon over there. So for this move and the next one,
Entering combat.
just head straight at that.
What the?
And then to finish things off, switch to your smoke grenade. And just launch it at your troops. This is to disguise them from those mortar towers over there. And then end your turn. At this point, we are done with this phase. So we'll just end and then let the enemy basically do nothing. Alright, all the enemy did on their turn was that tank took a mortar round to Alicia, which did nothing, and requested a scout as reinforcement. On Alicia's turn, she took out the tank and took out the bunkers. So now we're pretty much free to do whatever we want, because there's no enemies on the map at this point.
Here we go.
Start things off, select the Edelweiss, and finish your journey to the box canyon over here.
Focus on making smart choices, soldiers.
And once you get in the slot,
The target is just in front of you.
turn the Edelweiss around. You want to be pointing this direction, because this is basically where the enemy tank will show up on the 3rd turn. And then for the next 3 moves, we're going to use the Shamrock to get ourselves over in this direction as much as possible.
I'm getting pushed around here. Help me out.
Hug this corner as best you can to save distance. And we're headed for this ramp over here by that dead grass. The closer ramp that's right here, a tank won't fit through.
Way ahead of you.
Avoid the hole.
Stop the enemy from breaking through.
Leave it to me.
And then what we're doing is aiming for that corner over there, so. That's enough movement out of him. We'll save the extra turns for our third round when the enemy actually shows up. Final move though, select one of your
Right,
scouts
here I go.
and just get them close to the flag. You can actually run right
Two
at
rounds
it.
on my left.
As I mentioned, there's no enemies, so they're not going to get hurt by anyone. And to begin the third turn, what we'll do is capture
The
the flag,
defense is
which
starting to weaken.
starts the second phase. So, once you add a movement, end your turn. And at this point, we are done moving. Alright, all that happened on the enemy's turn is their scout arrived, took a shot at our scout, didn't do enough damage to really do anything, and then Alicia took them out. Alright, so to finish off this mission,
Right,
start
here
with
I
your
go.
scout. And just capture the enemy base. After an unskippable video and a bunch of dialogue, end your turn with the scout. And to start things off, select the Edelweiss, and as you can see, we're in position behind the tank.
Entering combat.
And shoot it in the radiator. And it's going to take 2 rounds to kill it, so once you do it the one time, end your turn, select
Here we
them
go.
again. And finish it off. Once you finish it off, you get some dialogue saying, hey, we're doing good. Switch to the Shamrock.
Way ahead of you.
And go for the back
Imperial
corner
defenses are
here.
finally weakening.
You're going to want to back into it
Roll them away.
Enemy sighted.
so that you have enough distance you can aim and actually hit the radiator. If you're too close, you won't have a good shot on it. So it actually takes 3 rounds with the Shamrock to kill the same tank.
Leave it to me.
So that's how we'll finish off the level. It's just doing the same thing 3 times. And as you can see, it's like got a thread of health after the second
Leave it to
round.
me.
But once you land the third one, you'll see that it is mission accomplished. And by beating the mission in 3 turns, you can see that we achieve an A ranking and get a decent amount of experience in Ducats. We also acquire an ace weapon. It's a new shock trooper gun. Does more damage than ours, but at this point, you can afford the upgraded clip one, which has like 10 more rounds than this, so it technically does more damage when they hit. So I would recommend using that over this one, or even the royal weapon. It's really not that great. And then we also probably going to get some more royal weapons at this point. And that is how you beat chapter 14, Showdown at Nagyar, round 2. And after beating chapter 14, if you go to your squad barracks, you'll see that Alicia's third personal potential is now available, Valkyria. When she gets below about half health, she gains more attack power and really increases her accuracy a lot. It goes to basically a pinpoint.